Hello and welcome to What the Tech from Boast, where we talk with some of the brilliant minds behind new and exciting tech initiatives to learn what it takes to tackle technological uncertainty and eventually change the world. I'm Paul Davenport, Boast resident tech journalist, and today I'm thrilled to welcome Bloks co-founder and CEO Marc Gingras onto the show. We first connected with Marc as part of our activation with the Tech TO team at SAS North in Ottawa back in early November, where Marc took the stage to explain the game-changing innovation behind the Bloks platform. At Bloks, Marc's team is helping venture capital and private equity partners rethink their work by eliminating the tedious busy work that's strife in traditional CRMs and investment workflows, freeing teams up to focus on discovering and nurturing the future's most exciting companies. This is just part of Marc's journey through the innovation ecosystem, as he's been a leading entrepreneur in Ottawa and across Canada for more than a decade. I'm excited to learn about its path through the tech ecosystem, the incredible work his team is doing at Bloks, and what's on deck for 2026. So without further ado, welcome to the show, Marc.
My pleasure to be on.
Awesome. I am so happy to have you. So, like I said at the start of the show, we connected a few weeks back up in Ottawa at SAS North. It was a great time, but I only got to scratch the surface on what you do and what Bloks does. So, to kick off, tell me your story. Tell me about Marc. How did you get into the tech ecosystem, and what brought you to Bloks?
It depends how far back you want to go. You can go back all the way to my high school years where ultimately I was just trying to find hacks through everything. I didn't want to study, so I would try to find ways to get good grades without having to spend the time and and that has been almost my spirit across my entire career, right? Trying to find ways to get to results without having to spend as much time as possible, which led me to look at software because I always found that productivity was an amazing space to work in. Like, how do you build stuff that makes people more productive? And so my first startup, I'll go quickly. My first startup was a company called Tungle, where we were building a scheduling software to helping people schedule schedule meetings. So think of the famous Calendly link that everybody uses. Well, actually, my name is on the patent for that thing. Yeah, sold it so built a startup around that, grew it to 500,000 users, and sold the company to BlackBerry in 2011, when BlackBerry was still something. And then after that, did another startup in the productivity space again, but totally different. So think of a retailer that has, I don't know, 500, 1,000, 1,500 locations, and they want to communicate with people in the stores. They want to send them tasks. So they would use our platform to be able to do that. So, I had clients like Nike, Whole Foods, CVS, a lot of the LVMH companies. And when 2021 came along, it was an interesting time to be in, right a year after COVID really started, and there was a lot of money in the market. So we had actually decided to test out the market to see if someone would be interested in acquiring us. And we ended up getting a bidding war. And long story short, we were acquired by Workforce Software, which is part of ADP. Anyways, so all that to say, what has led me to entrepreneurship was really about finding hacks and ways to get quicker to different places.
I love that. I feel like so many folks in our ecosystem can relate to just even at the high school level. I was the same way. I was spending so much time looking for workarounds when probably could have just been studying the old school way and actually memorized all the things. But that was an ethos I've always had. And
Totally.
again, it's why I got into like the journalism space to begin with, just because I'm like, I'm just going to go straight to the point. I'm going to get away from the minutia. I want to be productive and I want to be effective and not get hung up on, I said minutia already, but honestly, just the workflows that are really just kind of hindering progress in a lot of arenas. And I know we're talking about high school in this, but it's something that you take with you throughout your career. And I think it's
Yeah,
something that's an
totally.
ethos among entrepreneurs too. Like you're constantly trying to hack into something. You're also constantly trying to innovate something, but make it more productive. And that speaks to the hunger too. So I want to go back on a few things that you mentioned too. So I've been using Calendly for ever, honestly. So
Yeah.
this is fantastic. And then I love that you were also part of the retail kind of like omni-channel transformation that took place over the past couple of decades. Honestly,
Yeah.
that's something that's still ongoing. So very honored to be talking to somebody who's made a very real impact in productivity across sectors. So Calendly touches a lot. The whole retail omni-channel thing, again, that is transformative and still growing. And Again, you're one of the few 2021 success stories I think that we can really shine a light on with that purchase from ADP. So, Mark, a very, very impressive background. Now, Bloks. Let's talk about how Bloks came to be, the genesis story there. And I think we got a taste for what the idea was based on everything that you had said and just your journey through the entrepreneurship ecosystem to date. But give me some more details. What was your founding
Yeah.
team like? What was the journey?
Well, so again, the quest of the ultimate hack, right? And so after spending 2 decades building productivity apps, used by over millions of people, I think it's 100 millions of people have used my app because at one point also I was part of BlackBerry and I was responsible for all their productivity apps. So BlackBerry had quite a bit of reach as well. So when you look at doing that for 2 decades, I came to the conclusion that it's not by building an app that allows you to go through your email faster that you're going to achieve better results. It's actually by helping people build stronger relationships, better relationships, more relationships. So basically, scale what cannot be scaled, which is the number of relationships that you have that are real relationships. And so, with that in mind, that's why we started Bloks. And it was, hey, how can we build something that will help you manage long term relationships that you got? And then when we turned around and we looked at what is the tool that's out there that's supposed to help you manage relationships? Well, it's your CRM. And we looked at CRMs today, and there's major issues with CRMs. First of all, I have yet to find one person that loves their CRM. Why? Because it's a freaking pain in the bum to keep it up to date. You spend hours putting information in it. And what for? It's really for senior management to see reports of what's going on in the organization. So does it help me in my day to day? No. And when I'm about to meet with people, it's the data's all there, but I have to go in and dig for it and find it and go to other systems to find other types of information. So the tool that's supposed to be there for helping me manage my relationship is actually a tool that's great to give reporting up to senior leadership. And so with those problems in mind, we said, okay, there's a problem there. And then there was AI that was starting all together and saying, okay, well, hold on, like we can do some really cool stuff that will help people build better relationships, which ultimately will lead to better results.
I Everything you said was kind of music to my ears. Obviously, I'm in the go-to-market function right now, so we deal with the CRMs and the struggles you were listing were taking the words out of my mouth. I'm not going to shout out what platforms we're using today, but those interdependencies and everything that you were talking about in terms of just the roadblocks that they present, they're impediments to scale, and they're impediments to growing, like you were saying, those real relationships quickly, and also doing it in a genuine way that you're actually getting the information you need to make those a real relationship, not just a check mark or a data point in the report that you're going to be giving to your senior leadership. I think that speaks to so many people on the GTM side. Now, for Block specifically, this is for private equity and it's for venture capital, or is it for a more broader use case? I guess, who is the user
Yeah.
today and what are some of maybe successes that you've had to date?
So when we build blocks, and I think alluded to it quickly, we build it for people that want to build long-term relationships with people. All right. So if you're more in a transactional world like like short-term sales where you're working on a deal for 2 months, 3 months, and then it either closes or not, and then you move on to the next one and you move on, and you're not looking to build long-term relationship. Yes, you can be using blocks, but we didn't build it for that in mind. We really built it for people that want to build long-term relationships with people. So there's a bunch of industries that could see that being applied. But we initially started with venture cap and private equity because we knew that market well. It's a small market that we get to test and really test it out and really get feedback. And so we started there, but quickly we realized, okay, it's gaining good traction there. There's other markets. So we've since expanded to selling into wealth advisors. Because think of it, wealth advisors, right? They're trying to have a client for life, and even after that, have their kids, right? Insurance brokers, very similar. So those are two additional markets that we are targeting. Although we're getting a lot of inbound from marketing agencies, other media agencies as well. They're trying to build long-term relationships with clients. We also have professional services, consultants, lawyers, accountants. Again, those that are trying to build long-term relationships with people.
I think I had mentioned it when we met very briefly at SAS North, but Miriam on my team, I don't want to speak for her too much, but she was also at SAS North. She came over to me after your presentation. She's like, I use this. She not only works on the Bose team, she's one of our sales development and business development representatives. She's also an investor in her own right, and she has her own book. And basically, one of the beauties of working at Boast is that you're kind of your own CEO based on like what market you have and what your directive is. So she not only is helping bring people into Boast, but she's identifying the people she wants to personally invest in and the people she really wants to get behind. And
Mhm.
so I wanted to pick on like those use cases, and I'm glad you brought that up too. It's across industries and it's not just limited to the investment space because she uses it for all the above. So she
Yeah.
uses it again, make sure she fully understands and also is building those relationships, but also building more of them and more quality relationships. And so if it doesn't turn into something for Boast, she keeps those relationships going and then she broadens her network. And Blocks has made that easy for her to scale her network. So again, Miriam, I'm sorry that I'm calling you out here on the show, but that was something I really did find interesting. And again, I was just like, okay, so you're using it for XYZ. And I figured I was like, we could be using this on the marketing side. I'm not surprised to hear that go-to-market agencies are also coming to you guys with interest because I said it already. CRMs, as they're set up today, do anything but help you scale or get more efficient. And I love that you're really trying to bring that into this market.
Yeah, Mark Benioff wrote this book, Beyond the Cloud, which talks about the Salesforce history, and a really great read, by the way. I recommend it to everyone. But I'm like, to me, we're working on beyond the CRM. Because ultimately, when you think about the CRM, like things that we basically tried to get rid of, data entry. Like, why spend any time having to put in any data when everything can be captured, everything can be summarized, everything can be logically put and organized for you? So it's like no more data entry. Second, it's like why why have it sit somewhere where you have to go in proactively, give me the information when I actually need it so I'm better prepared for every interaction. So that's the second thing. And then the third thing is I think the C in CRM is customer relationship management. But you don't just deal with customers. You're dealing with investors, you're dealing with partners, you're dealing with colleagues, you're dealing with past people that you work with. Those are all very valuable relationships that are not being tracked anywhere. And so, why make the categorization of CRM when it's really about your professional relationship management tool, right? And that's really where we're spending our time.
I love how you framed that too. It's the professional relationship management tool, not I love how that makes it less transactional, even if at the end of the day we are, in some instances,
Yeah,
trying to sell products or trying to get people to use our services. But you hit the nail on the head when we are even talking about working with your old colleagues. It's valuable. They get value, though, too, from the relationship. And while that is definitively transactional, it's a lot less cynical when you look at it more as we're lifting all tides with this. It's going to be everyone in your professional network being able to get the full read, an accurate read, and a good path forward on how to make these relationships work for everyone on both
absolutely.
sides. That's fantastic. I love that, Mark. Now, I would be remiss. AI. It's the conversation on everybody's lips. Tell me a little bit about how AI is being deployed at Blocks, whether that's part of the platform to help kind of speed up and make some of these connections or data transfer and sharing effective, or even just in the R&D that you're doing. Speak to it a little bit, just because I think everybody needs to kind of get their word in on this, and I want to make sure you can get yours.
Yeah, so obviously we eat our own dog food, and Blocks is center for all my client and partner and investor relationships. So, it tracks everything that I do without me having to lift a finger, and organizes everything and preps me before my meeting and reminds me of what I need to get done. And sometimes in some cases actually help me get it done. So that by all like is one of the core tool that I use every single day. And I'm a bit like Steve Jobs where I build products for me, right? And so if I can use it, then hopefully it's useful for other people. It's a bit selfish that way, but it seems to work for me. Um, the other way that we use AI the dev team is we're a very lean dev team. We have a team of 4 people building the product. And at this stage in my previous startups, we would be at least 20, right? Like that's the massive unlock that we're getting. They're very senior guys, but they're using, like, for example, it's Codex, and they're letting it do 2 or 3 different tasks while they're attacking another task. And then once it's done the work, they go and review it, they make modifications, they resend it to do some tasks. So they're doing almost like a control center of development is happening right now when they're building their work. We also use AI a lot when it comes to our whole deployment cycle, and also alerts and helping us troubleshoot issues in our production environment. That's a whole other section that we use AI for. We're still, though, very old school when it comes to our customer relationships. Like in terms of support and all that stuff, we do want to be one-on-one, but we do use like Bloks and all that to help us manage all of these interactions. But we do like the FaceTime with people. I think it's so essential at the stage where we're at to get that direct feedback, and we don't want to let a robot kind of do it for us.
I agree with you completely. That's very much a shared ethos that we have at Boast. Over the past years, you actually might have even noticed this SaaS North this year, there are a lot of off-the-shelf shred, R&D tax
Mm,
credit editors who
yeah,
have just kind of come out of the woodwork. I don't wanna poo-poo them because, I mean, a lot of folks I know are extremely gifted at navigating the shred claim process, and they've moved on and they've started their own consultancies, but I'm seeing a lot of AI wrappers, out there that are literally just, "Okay, we automated how to answer in a
mm,
checklist fashion everything that the shred claim actually asks for, but there's no actually human expertise there and actually no finessing. And shred is subjective. It's not an objective thing. You need to actually tell an innovation story. You need to tell a compelling story that's going to speak to both the tax language that the CRA is looking for, but also
yeah,
does the innovation and does the technical language justice that your team was using. So we very much share that in that we want to use AI and we want to use automation and all the great new bells and whistles that have come across over the past few years to help speed up our efficiencies and to make us more effective and to deliver better for our customers. But that's not taking a human out of the loop. That's not taking somebody out who can actually answer the questions for you, be a sounding board for you, who is actually being thoughtful and has lived experience. It's
absolutely.
critical to what we do on the both side with Shred, and it's really not dissimilar to managing the client relationships and just what you guys are doing on your end. And even on that point too, about how your developers are using AI, I think that's the ticket. It's not necessarily to replace your entire R&D team, but it's to help those senior folks who can really be effective gain superpowers. And
Absolutely.
when we look at like the funding ecosystem in Canada too, I know you're not based in Quebec, but the CDAE IA program, it's being evolved to literally reward people who are using AI for R&D in the way that you just described to me, where it's
Hmm.
not removing people necessarily from the equation. Sure, you can do more with 4 people today where it would have been 20 in the past, but you're just using it to stay on the cutting edge and make sure that you're
Awesome.
not falling behind. And the government wants to reward that. So I had to throw in that piece about tax credits there just because
And
it's
just side
yeah.
note, we are Quebec based, huh?
Oh, you are? Okay.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
thought you were Ottawa based.
Well, Ottawa's on the border, right? So we're on the other side of the river.
Okay. Well, if you haven't spoken with my buddy Joshua, who runs our Quebec office, absolutely you should. But what you described was exactly what the provincial funding program wants to get behind. And they really want to reward it. And they want to hear stories like yours where you're doing something that is transforming a global sector and
Mm,
building it at home in Quebec and in Canada. So, yeah, that's a shout out to the provincial funding programs. There's the SHRED programs, which is
yeah.
both better bread and butter. I'm sure you're very familiar with all of those, but again, you're exactly exemplifying what we want to highlight when we're talking about the innovation born out of Canada. It is built for something that was a problem you were feeling firsthand. You're building tools for yourself. And again, you're in the entrepreneurship space. So, of course, other people are going to want to raise their hand and get in on all of that. So, this is all super, super, super cool, Mark. I'd love to know, knowing we have a few more minutes left,
Yeah, for
what's
sure.
next for Bloks? What's on your roadmap? Is there any exciting milestones that you guys are looking forward to, or even any like events you're going to be attending in the next few months that we can have people set their calendars towards?
Um, so where we're really excited about is that entire CRM space. Like right now, we're really focused on addressing some of the pain points of the CRM. Um, the real pain points. But over time, I think there's an overhaul of the CRM that's needed, and we're moving in that direction.
I am happy to hear that the overhaul is en route because, yeah, we have switched our back end platforms on our go to market team in the past year, and we had previously done that a year before. We keep searching for something that I don't think is out there yet. So,
Yeah.
really looking forward to when we can bring Blocks in and have it do the great stuff that you're doing for all your users today for our team, just because you're hitting the nail on the head in terms of what the issues are there, because we feel them acutely firsthand. So, I agree. That is exciting and ground that is ripe for tilling some new outcomes. Well, Mark, I can't thank you enough for joining us on the show. Those are all my questions. Before I do a hard out, was there anything you wanted to shout out or any other points you want us to make?
Yeah,
Contact info.
ultimately, where I'm the most proud of is the feedback we're getting from our users, right? Like when they say, I've installed it and within an hour I'm seeing an impact on my work. That's just what you want to hear, right? And that's just 1 hour of being in it. And then others are saying, hey, it is saving me literally 6 to 7 hours every single week. A week, right? Having to track everything, having to take notes. That's a full day. Every single week is being saved. Now that's gain, right? That's huge gain. So I'm really proud of it. Shout out to the Blocks team on being part of this venture. Really proud of them, and it's an honor to be working with them. And it's been an honor to be on this show as well.
Absolutely. We couldn't be happier to have you. Again, I'm so impressed with everything that you guys are building. It is no BS. I want some of these efficiencies that you've been alluding to for our team, because what would we do for every single member of my team if we could get back 6 hours of our week? That is material. That is what we all need. And I know we were talking before the show about how I'm kind of sprinting to get onto my vacation for Thanksgiving. And I literally said, I got about 6 hours ahead of me before I can sign off. And I think if I could take some of the minutia involved with just like looking at our marketing lists, going through all of our just kind of, yeah, lists, honestly, that's
Yeah,
the health I've been living in. That would be incredible, and I could sign off and go get lunch, but no, this
exactly.
is fantastic, Mark. I really can't thank you enough, and I also need to shout out the Tech2 team. I keep calling them
Yeah,
Tech2. I know that we've changed the name, but they were fantastic in bringing you onto our radar, and again,
yeah.
you were already planted the seed on our team. We were already fans of yours before I even realized it, so gonna be rooting you guys on. I think it's only upward from here. This is fantastic.
Have a good one and happy holidays to you.
Great. Thank you so much, Mark.